I think we're on the second to last SPSS video, and this is going to be over confidence intervals. So we already talked about the t-table, test statistics, etc., but this is actually how to calculate a specific confidence interval percentage in SPSS, also getting the mean and the standard deviation and the standard error of your sample. So let's get started with the steps that you need to take for SPSS in order to calculate this confidence interval. So these are the steps. You need to go to analyze, compare means, one sample t-test, because we are working with a sample, and then you need to obviously pick which variable you want to test, and then under options you can choose your confidence interval percentage. So in our example, it's asking us to find the 98% confidence interval of age. So we have to go to our SPSS file. This is the Workers 200 as always, and we need to follow these steps to find this confidence interval. So we go to analyze, we go to compare means, and we go to one sample t-test, because this is what we have to do whenever we're asking for a confidence interval. So we have age, that's our test variable, and then we need to go to options, because this is where we're going to pick our confidence interval percentage. So here it says 95, but the question is asking us for 98%. So this is what we need to change it to, and we need to click continue. So that is the only thing that we need to do actually in this function in SPSS. If you need a 98% confidence interval, 96%, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you change it in under options and then click continue. And the rest you don't need to change. You don't need to bootstrap, you don't need to do anything. So then click OK. And in your results or in your output, you get this. So you get a t-test. This is your n, obviously. This is the mean of your sample, so the mean of these 200 participants. For age, your standard deviation of age, and then also the standard error. So this is your s divided by the square root of n. This is exactly what you would get. So the standard deviation, and then standard deviation is like your s, and then standard error of the mean is like your s divided by the square root of n, which you use in your confidence interval formula. So these are just some simple statistics, and then here is your one sample t-test. So this is where you can find your 98% confidence interval. So here you have the lower end of your confidence interval and the upper end of your confidence interval. So what this means is that 98% of your means are going to lie within this confidence interval. So it's going to be between 32.15 and 35.27. This table you don't need to look at. It's not really relevant. You just need to look at this table and then look at this one. And so in this case, on the exam, they might ask you to find the confidence interval with SPSS. So this is how you would do it. And then they might ask you to find the confidence interval on your own. So given a 98% confidence interval, that means that your alpha is 0.02, meaning that you have 0.02 area not included in this confidence interval, and you just need to plug in the relevant values into the confidence interval formula that you can find on your formula sheet. So for example, for a 98% confidence interval, that means that your alpha is 0.02, because 2% of this interval is not included. So since your alpha is 0.02, that means your alpha divided by 2 is 0.01. So then you just need to find basically the t-value that matches an alpha of 0.01 and a degrees of freedom of 199. And then multiply that by the standard error, which SPSS has calculated for you, and then just add or subtract that from your mean. And your mean is also given to you in SPSS. So given this SPSS output, you can very easily calculate both the confidence interval with SPSS itself and then also by hand using the formula in your formula sheet. So super easy, super simple, and you just need to know where to find this function in SPSS. So again, it's analyze, descriptive statistics, analyze, compare means, and then one sample t-test. And you just pick whatever confidence interval you want, and then in your output, it will give you this. So again, for example, for us, it was 98%, and we got this confidence interval. So if you choose a bigger confidence interval or a larger percentage, this interval length is obviously going to be bigger. And if you chose a confidence interval of 20%, obviously this would be much, much shorter in length. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But yeah, that's basically just how you run a t-test, how you get the confidence intervals in SPSS. And yeah, it's pretty much that straightforward. And plugging in the relevant values into a formula as well is pretty straightforward. So that's going to be it for this video. Super short, but another important skill to know in SPSS. And stay tuned for the last SPSS video, which is where we're going to be taking a smaller random sample from the SPSS dataset. So for example, taking a sample of 50 from the 200 that we were given in the workers 200 data file. So that's going to be the last SPSS video that I'm going to be making for y'all. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, stay tuned for the last SPSS video. Thank you so much for watching again, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.